McBride, now financial analyst with the McBride Group. And James, thanks for joining us and breaking this all down for us. Let's get your reaction to the jobs report. Are you surprised by what you saw today?
No, I'm very encouraged because the economy is being held back by a pandemic. There's nothing wrong with the economy, and if people could be allowed to go to work, when it's safe, of course, the economy is going to pick up only more speed. It's probably worth pointing out, though, that the job numbers, although they're going down, they affect different groups differently. So, for example, there's a big difference by race in the United States. So Black Americans have about a 13% unemployment rate, Hispanics about 10.5%, and then whites about 7.3%. It also depends on the type of job you have. If you have a job where you can work at home, that's going to give you more flexibility than, say, a job where you have to be at a certain place at a certain time to work. And of course, different sectors, technology obviously is going to be a better place to be in the job market right now than, say, agriculture.
How long do you think it's going to take us to fully recover here? Obviously, as we continue to reopen and more jobs are brought back, things will be, in terms of the unemployment, will get better. But how long do you think it's going to take to fully recover?
I think that's going to depend on a vaccine, Christina. If the vaccine was in place today, for example, the economy could come back very rapidly. And if you think about, for example, restaurants, up here in Sonoma County, the restaurants can only serve people outdoors now. And when they do open, they're only going to be able to serve 25%. Only 25% of the space can be used for dining. But we know if there was a vaccine and this was all behind us, the restaurants would be full. So I think the gating factor on all of this is the vaccine. And we just don't know when that's going to happen. Of course, we all hope and think it'll be sooner than later.
Sure. And the fact that we have unemployment drop to 8.4% today, you would think that the decrease in unemployment would have helped the markets, but instead we saw the opposite today.
Well, I think the market typically what it'll do is it'll get very cautious going into a 3-day weekend because there is something called headline risk. There could be a significant event in the newspapers that could affect the market over a 3-day weekend. So that's one thing. And also you saw some dramatic declines in the tech stocks, which are clearly cooling off, shall we say. The market may be going through a slight rotation. And the numbers, although they were pretty big for a few days, I look back and the NASDAQ, which is the tech-heavy sector of our economy, is about where it was just last Tuesday, and the Dow and the S&P were just about where they were last Monday. So the sell-off, I think, was more hype than reality.
It's interesting you say that, too, because for the past few months, we've seen the stock markets just have an incredible run. And then all of a sudden, in the last 2 days, things just kind of changed. Do you have an idea of what might have prompted that?
Well, I think there's a lot of different reasons. I think the main thing is tech stocks probably got a little bit ahead of themselves. If you look at the performance of some companies like Zoom, for example, you know, the stock is up over 400% this year. If you look at Tesla, it's up over 350% this year. Well, those are clearly unsustainable numbers. So I think that they're cooling off a little bit. People are taking some profits. Maybe wiser heads are prevailing, and there's going to be a slight rotation. One thing we know for sure is that over time, the markets regress to the mean, and a lot of these stocks and a lot of these sectors have been way ahead of the mean. So it's probably time for them to cool off a little bit. But make no mistake about it, there are certain sectors, like anything having to do with work at home, anything having to do with home improvement, anything having to do with healthcare, and anything having to do with technology, they're going to be a good place to be for a very long time.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of stocks, they always say it is a long-term game, right? So that is what we're looking at here. James McBride, financial analyst with the McBride Group. We appreciate you coming on the show today.
Thank you.